Holy smokes everyone, we got some super duper news. This is the flippy flap flop. By crikey, we got a ripper of a video today. What you have to know is we are at a critical point in time right now. I feel like we're in an inflection point or a turning point, and this is very, very important because right now we're having huge issues in the world. We're having rampant inflation, we're having huge wealth inequality, and we're also in the biggest bubble in history. That's right, I'm calling this the biggest bubble in history. And you're having people, just getting so complacent, they don't know what to do, the money printer's going burr. They don't want to fight the Fed. But in this video, we're going to be going over the latest dire warning from the legendary, the prophet, the seer, the revelator, Michael Burry, about what's this market in right now, about what's going to happen. So everyone, he has made many predictions, but unlike most bears, a lot of his predictions have come true. So let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into it. Looky here, everyone. Big short investor Michael Burry is back on Twitter and is warning of the biggest bubble in history, the one bubble to rule them all. So listen to this, everyone. Michael Burry on Tuesday warned of the biggest market bubble in history, suggesting that his concerns about rampant speculation only grew during his 10-week hiatus from Twitter. And of course, what have we seen? We've seen the crazy pump and dumps in crypto. We've seen the crazy pumps in GameStop, AMC, with the latest short squeeze stock. They're going crazy now. I love that, the retail investors are trying to stick it to the hedge funds. That's awesome. But you have to agree, a lot of it is people just trying to bet, their $1,000 to try to turn it into $10,000, $100,000. They're not really in it to send a message. They're in it for the money. And what was the key indicator or key warning during the Great Depression that all the stock market traders got? Well, when the shoeshine boys started talking about stocks, that's when the stockbrokers are like, okay, we're getting very close to the peak, it's time to get out. And what I'm seeing is a lot of people that normally would never invest in the stock market, would normally never talk about investing at all, they're all talking about the next latest or greatest stock. But they have no idea what they're investing in. They have no idea of the fundamentals of a company. All they hear is their friends making money, so they want to make easy money too. But a lot of these new investors, as soon as we get a big decline, they're going to sell straight away and make the decline even faster and even steeper. So this is his latest warning and latest prediction, everyone. So listen up. People always ask me what is going on in the markets. It's simple. This is the greatest speculative bubble of all time in all things by 2 orders of magnitude. Hashtag flying pigs 360. Whoa. That's a big statement, everyone. Not only we're in a bubble, but we're in the biggest bubble of all things, the everything bubble, the bubble of all time, the one bubble to rule the bubbles. Now, I know you may be thinking, oh, I've heard it for the past 12 years, we're in a bubble, a crash is going to come. This is just another perma bear. You don't make money, trying to time the market. You make money in the market. And that may be true, but we've been in something that is very, very unusual. A 12-year bull run. Since 2009, we've just pretty much been in a straight bull run. Yeah, we've had some dips along the way, but they were very short and temporary dips. And then, the Fed comes in, they do the money printing, and then it shoots the stocks back up. But this is very unusual. This isn't normal to have a 12-year bull run. Normally, the market does a 7-year bull run and then a 2 to 3 year bear market. But we haven't had a bear market in 12 years, which is very unusual. And this is why I'm sending all these warnings. If we had, gradual growth of 7 to 10% per year, and, we've had a bear market over the past 12 years, then I'll say, okay, maybe this isn't a bubble. But we haven't had that. We've had crazy growth. And the bigger the bubble, the bigger the damage is done when the bubble bursts. Now it says here, the hashtag flying pigs 360 was likely a reference to the famous saying in investing, listen up everyone, bulls make money, bears make money, but the pigs get slaughtered. Burry repeatedly told investors that being too greedy and speculating wildly, shouldering too much risk and chasing unrealistic returns. And what are we seeing today, everyone? We're seeing people wanting to chase the next hot stocks because we've had, the Tesla stocks where it's done 1,000% return. We've had the crazy returns in the altcoins in cryptocurrency, like, Dogecoin. So, when investors hear of maybe a 7 to 10% return, they're thinking, 7 to 10%? Why would I even bother? I want to double my money next month and I want to do it now. And you're not having people just investing their own money, they're investing on leverage. I'll put up a chart here. Margin debt is at all-time highs. And I'm seeing in the cryptocurrencies, people promoting trading platforms where they can use 100x leverage. That means you put in 1,000, you can trade with $100,000. That's what's making the crypto markets go so crazy. But then when all these margin loans get liquidated, that just makes a crash even worse. So Burry deleted his Twitter profile in early April after sounding the alarm on Tesla stock, which is short, as well as GameStop, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Robinhood, SPACs, inflation, and the broader stock market, and he resumed tweeting Monday. And you know what I find funny? They shut down Michael Burry that's trying to send warnings about this bubble, and the SEC comes in, they shut him down. But what about Elon Musk? You got him pumping and dumping, altcoins in crypto. Whether you think it's funny or not, he's clearly manipulating the Bitcoin market. He says, oh, we're not going to accept Bitcoin anymore. And then he puts out a tweet, oh, okay, now we may be accepting Bitcoin again. You can clearly see his market manipulation. But as long as you're pumping assets higher, the SEC doesn't really care. But if you expose the financial system, if you expose what the establishment is doing, you get shut down like that. And he's been right about inflation. He warned early this year, before inflation got out of control, that we're going to see higher inflation. He was right about Bitcoin. We've seen a big drop in Bitcoin, and even though it's hovering around 41,000, we won't really be confirmed that we're in a bull market again until it breaks 44,000. And he has been right, about the speculative meme stock. So in case you've been living under a rock and don't really know who Michael Burry is, Burry is best known for his billion-dollar bet against the US housing bubble in the mid-2000s, which was immortalized in the book and the movie The Big Short. He also helped lay the groundwork for GameStop comeback this year. So he's not just a bear, he was investing in GameStop before the short squeeze. So he is a bull and he does make money when the time is right. As he brought a stake in a video game retailer in 2019 and wrote several letters to its board. And listen to this, everyone, this is huge. The investor who has complained many times about his warnings being ignored has Cassandra as his display name on Twitter. This is a reference to the priestess from Greek mythology who was cursed by the gods to share true prophecies but never to be believed. And you know what? This happens in every bubble. There's people that go out there that try to warn everyone and say, look guys, things are getting a little hot, things are getting a little crazy, maybe it's time just to cool down. But when people see the money, they get the dollar signs in their eyes, they go into euphoria, they will completely ignore all the facts, all fundamentals. And if you try to warn them, they'll say, shut your mouth, crucify him, crucify him. Because people want to believe so much that they can turn their $1,000, $10,000 into $100,000 and change their lives. And hey, I really do wish people all the best, and I hope they do make awesome gains and awesome profits. But I also hope people don't put in their life savings and get destroyed, like in the 2000 tech stock bubble and in 2007 and 2008 housing market bubble. So Burry's latest tweet echoed his other cautions. For example, he's compared the hype around Bitcoin, electric vehicles, and meme stocks to the dot-com bubble and housing bubble, and said earlier this year that the stock market was dancing on a knife's edge. And you know what's funny? When we look back in history, when we look back in time and look at the dot-com bubble, we say, oh, it's so obvious it was a bubble. When we look at the housing market, oh, it's so obvious it was a bubble. Why isn't it obvious that we're in bubble right now? And everyone, I just want to show you a chart just to put everything into perspective. So look at this chart, everyone. This is every empire and every big superpower throughout history. So what we can see here, from the 1400s to the 1500s, Portugal was a world superpower and held world reserve currency status. Then it was Spain, then it was the Netherlands, then it was France. Then for 105 years from 1815 to 1920, it was Great Britain. And what we're in right now is we've had 110 years of the US holding world reserve currency status and the world superpower. But when you study history, normally the average length is around 80 to 110 years. So this means the US is overdue to lose its world reserve currency status and to lose its world economy superpower status. And we're seeing the quick and fast rise of China. And we all know that, it's most likely China is going to overtake the US. And imagine what will happen to the stock market once the US loses world reserve currency status. They'll default on their debt. People will pull money out of the stock market and they'll all put it into the next winner, China. Or they'll also diversify into other emerging markets. Because you tell me what currency has lasted more than 150 years? What empire has lasted more than 200 years? That's right, you can't name one. Because always at the end of the empire, they get complacent, they start printing money like crazy, they start diluting their currency just like, the Romans did when they diluted gold with other metals and they mixed that to dilute their currency. They always get cocky, they always get complacent, and then there's always a rising power that overcomes and dethrones them. And this is why you're seeing a big, huge scramble for central banks to create a new central bank digital currency. Because like I said, every single fiat currency in history has not a 75% chance, not a 99% failure rate, 100% failure rate every fiat currency in existence has had. But the reason why people have kept on investing is because of money print to go burr, interest rates are low, and there's no other alternative. So I don't blame them. But all eyes are going to be on the Fed to see what they do to get this rampant inflation under control. The Federal Reserve has a meeting today, so I'll keep you updated on the latest the Fed says. But remember, the Federal Reserve did tighten and did hike interest rates by nearly 2.5% in 2018. Jerome Powell did that. So you may think he never will lift interest rates, but it was only a few years ago when he was hiking rates and Trump was threatening to fire him because he was completely crashing the markets. So don't think this can't happen again. Okay, so now that we know they're all doomed and the end is near, what can we do to prepare? Well, like I keep saying, we're at a critical point in time in the markets, and not really just in the markets, just in society as a whole. So we've got two directions that could happen. Either the Federal Reserve just completely ignores inflation, they cross their fingers and hope that it is transitory and that, after prices skyrocket 100%, they fall 50%. But again, that means prices will still be 50% higher. And then they'll say, haha, told you inflation was transitory. And they don't do anything because they don't want to crash the markets. They don't want the governments to default on the debt. And if that happens, the bubble will continue and you'd want to be in inflation hedges like commodities, like precious metals, like Bitcoin. And if you don't like any commodities, precious metals, if you only invest in stocks, then you'd want consumer staples because during high inflation times, companies will be raising their prices on consumer staples and consumers won't be buying discretionary items because they'll only be able to afford the mandatory things like food and transportation and utilities. But if inflation does get out of control and the Federal Reserve does taper, does hike interest rates, then you're going to want cash on the sidelines because when interest rates go up, the dollar goes up, assets go down, and then your purchasing power would actually increase even though, they're printing money like crazy. When interest rates go up and the dollar strengthens, your purchasing power will increase, assets go down, and then you can come in and scoop up everything for pennies on the dollar. So it's really a 50-50 move here right now, and we just have to see exactly what the Fed Reserve will do. So everyone, that was just a quick update on the latest that's happening with Michael Burry's predictions and what's happening in the markets. You let me know what you think is going to happen down below. Now, for all my loyal viewers and subscribers still watching, you're awesome. I'm absolutely loving the community and the conversations we're having in the comment section. Keep letting people know the truth, what is really happening. And if you haven't already, please tap that like and subscribe button. I'll keep you up to date on the latest happening in the stock market, housing market, and global finance news. And if you're bored, I'll put up my other videos here. I'll see you all there.